Welcome, football fans, GW Days Bulldog Fantasy. We're here once a week to talk to you about fantasy football and the NFL. I'm Matthew Johnson, alongside Jared McMurray. How you doing, Jared?
I'm doing well, Matt.
All right, Jared. Who do you believe is going to be a top quarterback this week? I know Cam Newton didn't have a good game last night, but hey, rough game.
Well, I like the guy playing against Cam Newton this week, Matt Ryan. The Atlanta Falcons are coming off a win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, improved the record to 3-6. Now they're battling a Carolina team that's been really struggling. Matt Ryan has a plethora of offensive weapons, including Julio Jones and Roddy White. I look for Matt Ryan to have a big week this week as they're trying to get back in the playoff hunt.
I know there's a lot of good running backs like Marshawn Lynch, who did really good last week, but who do you think is going to be a good running back this week?
I like Alfred Morris this week. Washington Redskins are playing a Tampa Bay defense that has struggled all season long, and Morris has been a pretty significant running back to date so far this season in fantasy football. He's been pretty consistent, and with RG3 still struggling to be 100% healthy, I look for Washington to give Alfred Morris a pretty heavy workload this week.
I know there's a lot of good wide receivers in the NFL, and I know it's a hard choice every week which one you should play. Which wide receiver do you think is going to be a good one for the viewers?
Reggie Wayne. Yes, I know the Colts are playing Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and the New England Patriots this week, and Andrew Luck, much like Peyton Manning early in his career, has struggled against the Patriots. But it's a home game for the Indianapolis Colts, and if there's one person on the team that knows how to beat the New England Patriots, it's Reggie Wayne. I look for vet Reggie Wayne to have a consistent week this week and put up big numbers for the Indianapolis Colts.
I know there's a lot of good defenses, like last night with Philly when they held back the Panthers like they did. What defense do you think is going to do that again this week?
Really isn't a great matchup for defense this week. You look at the Arizona Cardinals and the Philadelphia Eagles as top defenses in this league so far this season. But the Eagles battle Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. I don't like that matchup, and I don't like Detroit going to Arizona either. So the defense I look to this week is a defense that's kind of struggled, but they're playing at home, and that's the New Orleans Saints. They're hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, whose brilliant offense has struggled so far this season. So I look for the Saints defense to come through big as they look to capture a win and control their own destiny in the NFC South.
Who do you think is going to be a sleeper for you this week?
I really like Drew Stanton. With Carson Palmer out with the ACL injury for the rest of the season, Drew Stanton is back in the starting lineup as quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. He played two or three games early in the season when Palmer was battling a shoulder injury, and I really like Drew Stanton this week against the Detroit Lions, who are going to bring in an overpowering offense. So the Cardinals are going to have to keep up. So I look for Drew Stanton to put up big numbers as he's been connecting with rookie John Brown so far this season. So look for that matchup to continue.
I know there's going to be a lot of people on the waiver wire pickup this week for viewers out there because a lot of people sat them and the injuries have really been pulling on to them. Who do you think is going to be a good waiver wire pickup this week?
First off, Ronnie Hillman's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks for the Broncos with a bad ankle. And Monty Ball may or may not come back. So if you're an owner of one of those two, I fully suggest picking up Chris Anderson, a Denver Broncos running back this week. It's always a viable option of having a running back of Peyton Manning's offense. He's always going to put up a lot of points, at least given the opportunity to. Another waiver wire pickup I really like this week is Josh Gordon. Yes, I know you haven't heard his name this season yet, but that's because he's been suspended for the first 10 weeks of the season. He will be reinstated this week, and look for Brian Hoyer to get him the ball a lot for the Cleveland Browns offense. All that Josh Gordon did last year was after his 4-game suspension, he came back, played 12 games for the Browns, and led the league in receiving yards. So I really like Josh Gordon as a waiver wire pickup this week if he's available in your league.
I know this is a really hard decision to make every week because sometimes you don't know who's going to do good and who's not going to do good, but who's going to be a good stardom for the viewers?
I like a player this week that a lot of fantasy players have struggled with either sitting or starting all season long, and that's a receiver for the San Francisco 49ers and Anquan Boldin. Boldin had a tremendous game in their win over New Orleans last week, and I look for Boldin to once again have a big week this week against a pretty beat-up secondary in the New York Giants.
Also, another hard decision every week is who to sit. So who's going to be the sit-em for the viewers out there?
Lamar Miller. Miller really struggled in the Miami Dolphins loss to Detroit last week. And as the Miami Dolphins host the Buffalo Bills, another strong defense, I don't like Lamar Miller's matchup this week, so Lamar Miller is a must-sit.
I know there's new injuries added to the chart. What injuries are going to affect the viewers that are watching?
Quite a few injuries this week. Two to mention that we've talked about the past several weeks are both running backs, Monty Ball and Rashad Jennings. They're both going to look to give it a go this week, but they've kind of struggled with coming back so far this season from their two injuries. So keep an eye on that. Another injury is Delaney Walker, the tight end for the Tennessee Titans. He got a concussion in their loss to the Baltimore Ravens last week, but he's listed as healthy this week, so keep an eye on that. One more injury to keep an eye on is Giovanni Bernard, the running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's been out the past couple weeks, and they've really been wanting to get him back, but so far he hasn't been able to come back from his injury, so keep an eye on that going forward.
I'm Matthew Johnson.
And I'm Jared McMurray.
Tune in next week for another segment of the Bulldog Fantasy.
See you next week, folks.
Bye.